Hello everybody, it's me, Farham. We're here with some Path of Exile 2, and today we're going to be going over the results of 50 Trials of Chaos with Trial Master kills to see, is it worth going for the Trial Master? How much profit would you make if you didn't? How much profit would you make if you got unlucky? How much profit did we make with incredible luck? And ultimately pulling all of that together to see, well, is this a worthwhile endgame farm compared to things like Sims? Let's get straight on into some data, and we're also going to talk a little bit about of things I maybe really didn't like in Trials of Chaos. The zombifying moments. The rooms that make you feel like you could fall asleep. Anyway, let's get into this data. Alright then guys, so here we are with the data. We're going to take a look at our calculations first. I'll explain them. I'll explain anything we've captured and why we've captured it. So first tab that we've got is our data calculations. The Exalt to Divine Orb at the time I'm making this video. 375 exalts for one divine, so that's the calculation we're using for converting X to div for anything that sells in X. And the other data that we've got here is the time taken to complete this farm. I am a big fat slow boy, so it took me 16 hours. Pretty sure if you did this with a Temporalis Spark type build, you could do it a hell of a lot faster. You could probably shave 3 hours off there just moving through the corridors, to be honest. Although most of the time gets taken up in two particular rooms. The one where you have to chase the statue, and the one where you have to wait for a minute and a half, and no builds getting away from that. Which is why I think this farm's going to be 16 hours is probably the upper limit of how long it would take to run 50 of these. Anyway, there are macro calculations. Let's take a little look at our costs. So, costs, again, captured at point that I took the video. Deadly Fates are trading at 191, but they're bouncing between the 190 to 10 mark. Bought them at the lower end, lucky for the video. Or lucky for the div per hour, I suppose. Victorious Fate, we were trading at 55x, and Cowardly Fate at 86.5. 50 runs, so 50 of each bundled into the cost calculations. Total cost, therefore, to run 50 Trial Masters, if you were to buy all the mats at the time I'm recording this video, would be 45 divines, 44.87 divines. Quite an expensive farm. You'll notice that this is color coded, so as we go down to the Break It Down Now tab, the different color coding will be used in different calculations to show at what point you can put in different investments to get out different rewards, and we can work out the sort of risk reward of investing into this farm. That's the idea. That's what I want to get out from this spreadsheet. I'll have a bit of a shout out to someone else when we get to that Break It Down Now tab, because yeah, we've got some other data that we can compare this against, which is going to look quite interesting. So let's move on to our sales. First off then, let's take a quick look through our currency tab. So we got 121 exalts, 97 chaos, which is a massive number of chaos. We got a perfect jewelers, which I'm considering a very lucky drop, and that will be considered in our div per hour calculations at the end. We got 93 valves, which again, I think it's, although they're not really worth an awful lot, only 0.25 x per one. I think the amount that they dropped is an interesting thing to highlight, particularly how aligned that is with the chaos and how low the exalts are when compared to other farming methods. It's definitely a high skew towards those drops. Chance orbs, we got 7. I picked them up, so they're included. And for the fates, what I've done is I've taken a slightly lower than average cost of the 3 fates by dividing the total number of the total cost of the fates by 4. This is to account for the fact that I don't know exactly how many fates I dropped, and the ones that are expensive, the deadly fates, yeah, the deadly fates definitely drop at a lower rate to the cowardly and victorious fate. That is clearly shown by the market price, so I've just done a little bit of Excel wizardry just to get this closer to the actual mark. Had we actually sold our fates, I was recycling them all in, and we didn't end up with any spare fates at the end. Or we did, it was one of the rubbish ones, like we ended up with a couple of cowardly fates left over, I think, or a couple of victorious fates. One of the two. Either way, they're both really cheap, and they're the ones that drop more frequently. So on the currency tab, looking to make about 15 divines. Take out the perfect jeweler's orb, you're looking at about under 14, 13.5 divines, something like that. So that's okay, I suppose, on raw currency drops. The fates are worth picking up. They sell really quickly. There's quite a few people running Trial Masters, so you can get quite consistent there with the currency, but when you consider the total time of 16 hours, the currency alone isn't even going to get us up to 1 div per hour yet, but that's okay. Even if you're running with just ultimatums, there's still one more tab we can take a look at. So, Soul Cores then. So these are going to drop as well, regardless of whether you're running Ultimatums or Trial Masters, and they're going to drop in the same number. I've considered most Soul Cores just to be average drops or no luck needed drops, aside from the Azkaper, which seem to, well, they're the only ones with any value, and they don't drop at a high rate. There's 150 Soul Cores here, and we only dropped 2 of them. So in our Break It Down Now tab, when we look at our profit for being lucky, unlucky, or average, these will only be included in average. If we have an unlucky run, these will be removed. That being said, this is the loot we got. It was actually worth 17.38 divines. Most soul cores are trading at about 20. This is because you can reforge them. However, reforging them is not yielding a 1 in 15 chance of an Azkaper. That's the only hit that you would get, as you could, well, maybe as Zalatal. If you hit a Zalatal, you probably wouldn't be too displeased. But they're the only 2 we've got that are trading above a 3-to-1 ratio of any of the other things. I can't remember what they're called. They've got such terrible names. Soul Cores. Soul Cores. They're called Soul Cores. And these are the cores, clearly, of these people that had these names. And this person, although lucky, was turned into a Soul Core. Anyway, put this with the currency. You're looking at about 32 divines. If we take off the lucky and the very lucky results, then we're actually down to about 25. So that's somewhere around 1.5 divines per hour if you were just running these somewhere. We'll get the exact numbers soon. But 1.5 divines per hour if you were just running Trials of Chaos. And I tell you what, some of it's absolutely zombifying. The rooms where you have to wait a minute and a half to kill all of the enemies, that's just takes far too long. And the turret, the statue that you have to escort, oh my god, why does it move so slowly? Anyway, to kill the Trial Master, you can start to approach this luck tab, which it is a luck tab. He's got 2 drops that we would want to really take a look at. That is the diamond, which is worth a lot. In fact, it was worth quite a bit, and then by the time I finished the farm 2 days later, it was worth 33% more. And he's also got the shield, which sell quite well unidentified. So on our luck tab, I've just gone straight into vines for this. Out of 50 runs, the diamond is a 2% drop chance. So out of 50 runs with average luck, you should get 1 diamond. We actually hit 3 in our 50. So put all 3 here so that we can see this on the breakdown tab of if you got really, really lucky, how much could you make per hour? Because it makes the number go funny. And we also get the shields, unidentified shields. These are about a 1 in 7. We dropped 4, which is actually kind of unlucky. We should have dropped 6. But they sell for 3 divs each. So 12 divs there anyway. So 327 divines, 12 divs with just your bog standard luck killing the Trial Master. You would get 12 divs back, probably from the shields. That's kind of unlucky levels. Average luck, you're going to be looking to get about 100 divs. Well, actually, these things are trading at 120 now today. They were trading at 90 on day 1. And we'll take the average when we work that out for our last tab. If you got really, really lucky, then you could be making 20, 30 divs an hour. Of course, that's not expected, and I think for any reasonable calculations or working out reasonable farms, we certainly shouldn't include anything above the average. But let's go to the Break It Down Now tab. Let's have a look at how much you make if you just do the ultimatums, how much you make if you do the ultimatums and the Trial Master, how much you get with varying levels of luck based on the drops that we've got here today, and then how much you can spend if you're Dead Rabbit and you go 250 runs killing the Trial Master with no diamond drops at all. Let's get into it. So then, let's take a look at how this could go, or should go. So based on the data we've got here today, a trial only with bad luck, so only summing up the green lines from the previous sheets, would yield you around 1.51 divs per hour. That's assuming that you get no Azkapers and you just get crappy cores, and that you don't reforge and that you just sell them. Trial only with average luck, so assuming that you will get 2 Azkapers over 50 runs, which I think is about the average, that will yield you around 1.91 divs per hour. But the cost is really low. It's going to be costing you less than a divine for all 50 runs, which is really good if you just want to get some divines together. The challenges aren't too hard. The bosses are way scaled down compared to map bosses. If you've got a low budget character, doing that for 2 divines an hour for a weekend, all of a sudden you've got a mid-budget character. So it seems worth it to me. Now, as we started to add a bit of risk to this, and the Trial Master is risk, and we can see this here. compounded, of course, by our final line. If you have bad luck, you will make around 36 divines. This is assuming you get no Azkapers and you get no drops of any note from the Trial Master beyond a few shields that you then sell unidentified. You will look to lose about 0.5 divines per hour running like that, assuming you have bad luck. Now, what do I mean by bad luck? That means not dropping a diamond in 50 runs. With a 2% drop chance, the probability of getting a diamond in 50 runs is around 76%. So about 1 in 4 people will not hit a diamond in 50 runs or worse, right? This is probabilities we're talking about. It's never, ever guarantees. So this is risk. Everything we're talking about from here on in is risk. However, assuming an average luck where you drop a single diamond, where you're the 3 out of 4 and not the 1 out of 4, you'll be looking to profit at around 5.5 divines per hour. That is on the basis that a single diamond sells for 90 divines. They actually were selling for 120 at the moment, but at the point where we hit average luck, they were selling for 90 divines, so that's what I've used in the calculation here. The prices are fluctuating quite wildly throughout the day, so it does depend on the day and what time you sell it. Our actual results and actual sales, we've got 3 diamonds. That's really, really lucky. That's the other extreme. It's like a 1% chance of that happening. Less than 4% or something. The actual results we got then were 359 divines. Cost was 44.87. So this is what I mean by high risk investment, right? It's a 45 divine investment to get this, to run this farm. But the div per hour for this farm, for us, was 19.65. That is the sum of all divines we made throughout this. Now, I have to extend my commiserations for Dead Rabbit, who was also doing this farm, and is currently doing the Last Flame farm, and is having equally terrible luck. But this is what can happen if you have bad luck. So for Dead Rabbit, he ran 250 times, and he did not see this once. So I'm assuming a cost outlay, if you were to do this today and get unlucky, of 225 divines, and you would be lucky if you're scraping back your 215 there. That is assuming average luck on everything, but no diamonds. You'd be tearing your hair out by the end of that. I cannot imagine how rough it would feel to be that unlucky. But yeah, it can happen even over 250 runs. That's recorded. That's what I mean by it's a gamble, right? There's evidence there of someone going 250 runs on the bounce without seeing one of those diamonds, and it can happen. It's really, really unlikely. You're talking about the probability of that actually happening is like less than 1%, I think. I can't remember the exact number. Anyway, it's really, really low. It's unlikely to happen. 3 out of 4, you're going to be hitting that average luck and making about 5.5 divines per hour. It's your gamble to take. It's your risk to take. It's pretty consistent, it looks, on the divines per hour, even with bad luck doing the trials. So if you're a new character and you just want to get some divines together, running this is a really low-cost farm with okay div per hour that doesn't require a character that's going to break the bank to run it. Trial Master as well, not a challenging boss. If you can afford to put those divs in, this seems like a... Well, obviously I've just made quite a few divs from it, but it actually does seem like a... As far as gambles go in this game, this one feels like a fair one. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Send commiserations to Dead Rabbit. That's very unlucky to for that to happen. Just to point out, for the cost that would cost to do that farm, you could buy an 89% effect adorned today. So, ouch. Catch you in the next one, guys.